pals. Slumdog Millionaire. I'm Brian.
And I'm Brad.
And this is one of Brad's movies that the marbles on stream already decided we were going to watch. So I'm going to let Brad take the lead for the. That sounded so condescending.
It's your movie. You take it.
I was just more like, oh, not even that. I was like, I'm going to step back because Brad obviously is going to take the lead. That's what I meant, like the vibe, but it sounded like the Lord of this country will allow him to do this one thing. It's never mind.
I love it. I'm here for it.
I'm sober, I swear.
well, Lord Brian, this movie is based on a book. That's a book adaptation from Q&A.
Mm-hmm.
This movie is basically non-spoiler section here. Basically, who wants 2 minutes of
non-spoilers, and we'll get into spoilers in 2 minutes.
Don't fact check that. About the Indian version of Who Wants to Be a Millionaire. It is kind of cool, but it's kind of, I can see why some people of the world wouldn't like this movie. And I think we'll get into that here in a little bit after on the spoiler section, but I think it is a fantastic film. But it's basically Who Wants to Be a Millionaire and kind of how he knows the answers to the questions that they're asking him. So it is written.
Yeah, I was thinking a lot about that in the non-spoiler section about the controversy or the discussion of like, doesn't make India look bad. Is it honest about India? And when I first saw this movie, I had never seen an Indian movie in my life. Now I've seen like 20. So I have like, let me put it this way. Amongst Americans, I'm top 1% experts.
You take me out of America and I am zero.
Put me in India and I'm zero. I'm negative. Like, I'm literally for the sake of the joke, I'm literally looking up the US population. Yeah, there's 3 million of us that my 20 films, like, or let me rephrase that. There's 329.5 million people in the US. Me watching 20 Indian films firmly puts me in the top 3 million.
Yeah, probably.
I believe that.
And out of those 3 million, probably most of them are probably Indian born or have Indian family, which
true.
Brings them to that.
I forgot to factor in race. Oh man, I wonder if this is gonna get. I'm literally typing Indian population in US, and I'm just hoping that whoever collected the numbers has updated their terminology to Native American.
Yes,
because we used to call Native Americans Indians because
we're just now 2020 or 2022, just now sort of getting beyond that.
All right, so with a population of almost 4 million. Nope, it said Indian American. That's confusing to me now because I don't know if Indian American is. Nope, Indian American. I'm reading on there's talking about Southeast Asian Americans. So, all right, Asian Americans, Chinese Americans. So, all right, this is actually the non-racist result. And to not put pressure on generations that have been born here, I'm just gonna split that in half. So let's say there's probably 2 million Indian Americans who actually watch Indian films. Maybe there's a chance I'm in that top 1%. To just cut this bit short, excluding any Indian Americans.
Top 1%. Easy.
Yes. Yeah. Anyway, so should we? I mean, it's non-spoiler review. do you want to give more about the movie, give feels for it, and keep the spoilers or the controversy discussion for the spoiler section? Or
I don't think we can, I don't know, kind of your call on this. We can do it without spoilers, because it focuses more on the slums of India versus what actually takes place in the movie.
All right. So then for structure, so people know, we should right now just talk about the plot really quick, give a feel for it so people know if they want to watch it or not. And then we'll give our ratings, and then we'll talk about the controversy, and then we'll say spoilers and get into spoilers. So if you don't want to listen to the controversy before watching the film, then you'll get our takes and our rating. And then,
I like it. That's good.
So how would you describe the film? Besides just the Who Wants to Be a Millionaire?
I would describe it as a person. It's kind of like following somebody's life and the trials and tribulations that they've gone through personally, and how it developed them as an adult moving forward. The game show really draws light to the major points of his life growing up as an Indian, growing up in the slums of India, and kind of how he works through the processes of his life. It's kind of a hard movie to describe. It's easy to explain and it's hard to describe.
All right, let me give my attempts. If anyone's familiar with Definitely Maybe, it's the story of Ryan Reynolds telling Abigail Breslin the story of basically how he met her mother. But he decides to throw in two other women who were very influential in his life and makes her guess. So imagine, instead of Ryan Reynolds telling a small girl the story of his life, a 20-something Indian boy from a lower income area, I guess, or life, is telling his police interrogators his life story. And the framing device is connecting back to some of the very weird questions he was able to answer considering his upbringing.
Yeah.
And
that's pretty solid.
And the whole purpose of it is, I mean, it's not a spoiler to say why he's there, is it?
What do you mean?
Doing Do You Want to Be a Millionaire?
No,
is it a spoiler?
I don't think so. Who Wants to Be the Millionaire was a very popular 2000s TV show. I don't think that would be. It wouldn't be spoiler to say, that you like the show or anything like that.
All right. Well, I'm just gonna say it and then tell me, because I don't think I asked the question well enough. The reason he's on there, his whole purpose for it, he doesn't give a shit about the money. He can win it. He can lose it. I'm not gonna spoil that. The reason is the woman he's had a crush on since he was a baby boy, who he, is part of his upbringing, his story. He doesn't know where she is, and he's trying to find the love of his life, this person he's thought about for the last 15-ish years or whatnot. And all he really knows is that she likes
the show.
Do You Want to Be a Millionaire? Yeah. Is it Who Wants to Be a Millionaire?
Yeah. I would say that's a little spoiler, but not bad. I mean, because they kind of draw it up pretty early. So
okay.
With the framing and flashbacks and stuff, they kind of frame it up pretty early. So I don't think it's too big of a spoiler. If you've seen more than the first 15 minutes of this movie, you'd probably get it.
You can be guessing, yeah. But yeah, that's so it's a story of trying to find the person who you think is the love of your life. And I'm just saying that because he was a fucking kid. You know, like I hope they're the love of their lives, but you know, just speaking realistically, you don't know.
Yeah.
Until you actually get years and years together.
And even then, do you really know?
Yeah, but this is a movie, so she is the love of his life, and he is the love of hers. Even though the reason she may like him can be clouded once we get into spoilers, if we think about it in a realistic sense. Anyway, yeah. So, all right. Anything else you want to say in non-spoilers before we get into the controversy?
Do you want to do the ratings first? Or the controversy.
Yeah,
first?
I just wanted to. Oh yeah, I should have said before the ratings.
Yeah, I'm good.
Okay, what's your rating, sir?
I'm solid with that. This movie to me comes so close to ayahuasca, like so close.
Okay.
So it is going to be a mushroom, but like if they just tweak a few little of my tiny nitpicky grievances, it would have been ayahuasca.
Nice.
But it's nitpicky, and I mean it's almost unfair to the movie.
Right. So is yours firmly mushroom or mushroomy ayahuasca?
No, I'm gonna go firm mushroom. I don't think I can teeter it that hard, but it's close. It's really close.
All right. I'm going to give it a firm edible. Okay. I like it. You know, I remember loving it back in the day. Most of these things are new to me. The story structure was new to me. On the rewatch, I still enjoyed it. I mean, except for like probably the penultimate moment or one moment. Oh, I can't even remember. I had randomly stood up and then I just stayed standing up watching for like a minute. But you know, I was totally fine, like pausing, going running, get something to eat. You know, so I am edible.
Okay, that's pretty solid.
Or gentlemen.
I made my wife watch this movie when I didn't make her. I asked her if she wanted to watch it. I didn't chain her to the chair or anything. I asked her if she wanted to watch it, and she watched it. And there was some moments where she gasped, and it was good.
Nice.
So I know she really liked it, and I've seen this movie probably closing in on 10 times at this point, and there's not one time where I was like, man, I feel like I wasted 2 hours of my time, or was it 2 hours and 5 minutes or whatever it is.
True. Yeah, I guess. Wait, I want to mention one more thing before we get into the controversy, but I'm trying to speak and say other words that I'm not saying while typing, and I don't know why I didn't just start saying what I was searching for instead of saying that other thing, because it would have taken less time.
In code.
Yeah, but this. What's the? Oh wow! All right. Oh yeah, is it Osea? What that song? All I want to do is. Oh no, it's Paper Planes. Right.
Paper Planes by MIA. Yeah.
All I want to do is like this. That really fucking blew up this song.
Yes, and it fits the movie so well, and the scene that it's in, it fits so well. It was crazy. Like at first, I was like, wait. Was that song written for this movie? And then I was like, I don't think it was, but I think it just fits perfectly for what they're doing in that scene.
Oh yeah. Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if well, did you find an answer for that or no?
I never looked it up. I just assumed I was right and moved on with my life. I mean, hey, either right or wrong. I just assumed I was right.
By the way, that hit so much harder than my reaction because I was fully distracted trying to look up what that famous song or the song Tokyo Drift made famous, so I could draw a comparison, and it still hit that hard. That's such an American sentence.
I think that was the one, Welcome to Tokyo or something like that.
I just assumed I was right. Done with life. Oh, Jesus Christ. Okay, it was Teriyaki Boys
Oh, okay. No,
or
yeah.
Tokyo. I think it's called Tokyo Drift or something like that by the Teriyaki Boys. It was so good. Oh, I don't know why that is so hard. Okay, the controversy. Uh, what? All right, what's your take on the controversy? What did you think it was?
Okay, so basically, the reason why, so there's a very bipolar reception of this movie. Over here in the West, we thought it was really good, critically acclaimed, won a ton of awards. It won a bunch of awards in India, but um, the and this is kind of similar to what I thought of in Kingsman when we reviewed that, of how the negative light was kind of shined on.
I was gonna draw that comparison.
So I can definitely understand. Um, so I mean, but basically it boils down to how the movie portrays the poorest of individuals in some of these slums.
Mhm.
And also the word dog, they had a really big offense to slum dog. Because this movie is focused on a particular slum in India that houses about 1 million people in 1 square mile,
Mhm.
and how they live and how they move from day to day. So I mean, I can definitely understand the controversy. I can definitely understand why people would be a little bit of sensitive about that. Um, and I mean, like I said, with Kingsman, I kind of felt the same way of how they portrayed the bigoted, racist, section of America, and kind of poked at it a little bit. So I can definitely understand why there's controversy.
Yeah.
But
Yeah. So, yeah, what I found when I was looking up the actor, just I want to fact check. I was like, wait, is this a real actor? Because I it had looked familiar, the person, and I have seen at least one movie, if not multiple movies, with Amitabh Bachchan. I don't know how to pronounce his name. Like Kabi Kushi Kabi Gam. Um, and his quote he wrote on his blog, he said, if SM, Slumdog Millionaire, projects India as a third world, dirty underbelly developing nation and causes pain and disgust among nationalists and patriots, let it be known that a murky underbelly exists and thrives even in the most developed nations. Um, there's been some debate about the Indianness of the movie. Yeah, basically he wrote. It's just that the Slumdog Millionaire idea, authored by an Indian and conceived and cinematically put together by a Westerner, gets creative globe recognition. The other would perhaps not, like the reverse.
yeah, I can see that.
And let me be clear. I am very ignorant of many of the things in what's going on in India. My knowledge is from the movies that I've had and the comment section in my old YouTube channel, Superview, which was mainly reacting or reviewing Indian movies and people from India commenting on the state of things in their country. So, what I'll say is what I can get, or the read that I'm getting from him is one, I do believe that if everything was reversed, if it was there's been remakes of American movies and stories like Memento. There is an Indian version of Memento. I believe there's an Indian version adaptation of Bodyguard. There's, a Mexican television show adaptation of Breaking Bad. These things just don't get celebrated in the US and I maybe globally. I don't know how Slumdog Millionaire hit the world, but totally fair. See that. I don't think, I can't tell if he's actually insulted by Slumdog Millionaire by his statement of let it be known that a murky underbelly exists and thrives even in the most developed nations. Because I'm like, that's just true.
Yeah, that's
Like,
absolutely true.
yeah. So when we talked about this and you talked about the Kentucky church in Kingsman, I'm going to sound exactly like I did back then. Look, there's stories for every facet of or let me put it this way. The number of possible different stories about India or about the US or about any country can be so varied and put it either in the best light or the worst light. You get a World War II movie, the US is such a hero because even though I think they like came in at the end of the war, you know what I mean? I've heard that
part of the way through. Yeah.
Yeah. So like
after Germany had already dominated for so much, had conquered so much, then we decided, we'll come over and help now.
Yeah. All right. Let me put it this way. If you watch Independence Day, you're like, woo, America. Fuck yeah. And then if you watch Get Out, Get Out, Blind Spotting, Sorry to Bother You, Black Klansman, like those are all telling the same story in different ways, and it's about that murky underbelly that exists. And I watching those films, I never thought, but you need to also show that America's great. I'm just like, no, that's the story you're telling. We don't need to both sides this issue. We don't need to be like, while black people are being slaughtered or abused or, taken advantage of. Remember Sandra Bullock in The Blind Side. I don't need Sandra Bullock in that movie, like taking in a homeless African-American boy and getting him an education, getting him a football scholarship. They're separate movies. So if this movie is being completely accurate to that area and that story, well, obviously it's not being completely accurate. It's a fiction, but if it's being honest to what the reality is for people who live there, then I don't think people's frustration is so valid. It's a story about a kid in the slums.
Yeah.
If that is honest, if it's not, if it's completely bullshit, which as far as I can tell from, those previous comments and things that I had heard from people from India, I don't think it's fucking Narnia. I don't think they just invented, that situation for that blocks.
Yeah, I can definitely understand them being a little sensitive to it though.
Yeah.
Just like we're a little sensitive to some of our country's faults. Doesn't mean they're not true. It just means we're a little bit more sensitive to it. And, maybe we don't want to see things that way, like the blind spotting. Like the Kingsman with the bigoted, racist church in, southern part of America.
Yeah.
I mean, we it's a fact that happens. It is a true thing. That is a factual thing, but we don't want to shine light on it, and we kind of don't want to see it in those lights, and especially in a movie like this.
And I'm the opposite. I want to shine. If there's a problem, if something makes us look bad, I want to shine so much of a light on it that we do something to change it. Instead of
absolutely. I'm 100% about that. But this is also Kingsman is a fictional story. This is a fictional story. Like there's nothing to fix. I mean, but like real world events, I think absolutely we need to shine it and put it in the light and fix it. Do what we need to do.
Yeah,
just
but like
the events of 2020 is a good example.
Yeah. But like, what is it? Like those 4 movies that I mentioned, except for like half of Black Klansman is like accurate, and half of it is I think it has a false ending that never happened. If you saw the movie when the car blows up and all that, I think I found out that didn't happen. It was fictionalized to give the hero moment. Most of those films are fiction, but they're speaking to something that's truthful. So I'm guessing that, or let me say this. If Slumdog Millionaire is speaking to something that's honest, then I think everybody just needs to acknowledge that that is truthful and then try to do something so that it's in 20 years not truthful. That'd be good.
Yeah, no, that'd be perfect.
Um,
Unfortunately, in both these cases, I don't think that's something that's going to change that fast. I don't think the slums of India are going to change in 20 years to where there's no slums or less slums.
And I'll add that.
And I don't think, the bigotry and racism in some of these, Southern churches, stuff like that, or even in just people in general is going to change. We can try and we need to try and do our best to change that, but I don't think it's going to just erase itself.
I will add this. If part of it is the fact that this is a story about India being told from a Westerner commenting on the negatives, and people are like, yeah, we have this. Why are you just, I don't know, making fun of us or exploiting like something bad? Can you help? It's not going away. Our people aren't doing it. Can you just not comment on it? Can you not just only comment on this and actually do something to help us? If it was like, yeah, I really don't appreciate you monetizing our suffering in this area. Not a good look. Then I'd be like, oh, that's a different argument. But yeah, also like, if Amitabh Bachchan's comments were negative about the movie, I'm also not invested in knowing what one of the richest people in the country has to say about the poorest part of the country. If they're like, why, like, I'm angry at you for highlighting this, and be like, look, there's no way in hell what's going on down there. And if you do, the Bruce Wayne argument, throw your money behind it. Don't just swing at people.
Fair enough.
But yeah. And then I also looked up stuff like if things had changed. And weirdly, like between the book and the movie, and weirdly, like one of the things that was changed was people's names, which at first I was like, oh, some uncredited screenwriter was trying to get screenwriting credit. And by that I mean one of the cheapest ways the screenwriters try to get forced screenwriting credit from the unions is changing the names, which doesn't fly. They're just like, oh, it was Pete. You know what? Luke is better. It's like, maybe this will get me. It's like, that's not actually credits. Doing work, hitting Control F or replace or whatever. But the writer who was he was a diplomat. So I'll also say that maybe like the original author was from India. So obviously they know more than, or I would hope they'd know more than Danny Boyle.
Yeah. Well, considering he's a retired diplomat, so I mean, I hope so.
I was gonna say, but he's a diplomat, and if I don't care what a billionaire's opinion is about the poorest parts of the nation, because they probably don't understand, the second group I would not care about are politicians. If they're anything like U.S. politicians, I don't care. So or most U.S. politicians, let's say. Now everyone can fill in their biases.
Yep, boom,
who's
easy.
The exception?
Your favorite politician is the exception. Just know
that. So maybe Vikas Swarup, the author, maybe he knows, maybe he doesn't. Again, I don't know. I haven't read his book. But he said that the name change was interesting because he originally named the main guy.
Ram Mohammed Thomas.
Yeah. Okay. Yes. And he did that.
I'm looking at it. That's the only reason I know.
He did that, he said, so that it could feel like the Indian everyman, that it could, one name is Hindi, one name is Muslim, one name is Catholic. so that he could just have anybody see themselves in this guy. And he said that the screenwriter Simon Beaufoy warned him, and he thought that it might have made it a little more honest. Where is it? Yeah. I'm not going to go too much into it, but or search quietly for too long. But he also said that Danny changed something in the story, which was instead of the hero being arrested after he'd won the million, put it right before the last question, which I thought for narrative tension was fucking
fantastic.
Great.
Yeah, fantastic.
And then he said at the end that he worries how the scene of Hindu mobs murdering Muslims will play when the film opens in India. Because I think that might not have been something that was in the movie.
It was very briefly. I had to look it up. It was very brief. We'll get. It was very briefly in the movie.
Yes, or I meant to say I don't know if it was in the book.
Oh, gotcha.
He said people in India are sensitive about how they're portrayed, so there will be criticisms. But a Bollywood director recently told him Slumdog Millionaire's failing was that it wasn't extreme enough to be truly Indian. India has a genius for recycling its contradictions. That was the last paragraph in the article, and it started with a quote, like quotes, as in he's talking, and it never ended. So I don't know if that's all. Okay, I think I figured it out because I read that like it was a full quote from him, but there's a part where it's like, but a Bollywood director recently told him. All right, never mind. Or sorry, the quote that he said it ends at criticisms. Anyway, yeah. We don't intimately know if the criticisms are valid, but using context clues,
make your own informative decision.
Yeah. Or just research until you know for sure. Live your whole life in India and figure it out. What I will say is, like, I've seen a lot of the imagery, like riding on top of the trains and things like that, and slums and caste systems and just general like racism or what's it when you hate based on someone's religion? Like there was this Salman Khan film, I believe. Salman Khan. Yep, Salman Khan, Muslim girl that doesn't speak. See how much faster that was when I just say it out loud? Bajrangi Bhaijaan. So
and you don't put it into IMDb.
So Bajrangi Bhaijaan is a great film. I recommend anyone check it out. It's about this guy who takes a not a Muslim girl. Sorry, I believe she's Muslim, but she's a Pakistani girl, and he's trying to reunite her with her family or something like that. It's a great film, and there's a lot of highlighting about the hate towards Muslims. And there's in fact a part where she like finds a mosque, and they do this very sitcom-y like, oh no, she's Muslim. So maybe that's more appropriate because it's actually an Indian film that's highlighting it. I don't know. Anyway, want to get into spoilers, sir?
Sure. Now that we've killed the controversy.
Yeah, it's done. Two white men from the US have fixed it. Before I say spoilers, for sure, if you want to watch the film, there's an affiliate link below.
Oh, good job. Way to get that in before the spoiler section, not after like we always do.
Okay, now spoilers. What do you want to...
He dies at the end. Oh, I'm sorry. No.
Yeah, they all die in the beginning, and then it's just 2 hours of credits.
Yep. They actually die. They die in the beginning. They're all ghosts.
Oh, one thing I wish I had said before the spoilers warning was that
Mm,
the dance in the credits,
uh-huh.
that is very maybe Bollywood or just Indian in general. So at the very least, I believe that Danny Boyle and everyone involved cared so much to try to get it right. Even if they didn't, because I don't know. I don't know if they got it right. But like, so, I forgot that there was a dance sequence in the credits, and I was like, "Oh shit, they're doing the Bollywood thing or Indian thing." I don't know if it's strictly
One
Bollywood.
or the other.
Yeah, because there's Tollywood. There's like so many different languages, and many of those languages have literally their own film industry in India, which
Hmm.
is shocking. Like here, there would be so many acquisitions that the U.S. would force it all to be Hollywood.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, like Tollywood is a full business, and I believe it's Telugu. Um, I might be wrong on that. Uh, Language films, and then I I think the reason Who Wants to Be a Millionaire is in English is because English is potentially the most shared language in India. Um,
Okay. I mean, I can definitely see that. I mean, they do a lot of business with Americans, so I can see that. Um, English would be a very common language to speak. It is in a lot of countries.
and most of the films have, or a lot of the films have a mix of English and then the language that it's being dubbed in. Um, okay, so when I searched top languages spoken, it just doesn't have English in any of the lists. So like Hindi's number one, Bengali number two, Marathi, Telugu, and Tamil. Um, yeah,
Hmm.
so I can't tell where English falls in there.
Maybe
But
they don't see it as an official language. Maybe when they do these kind of polls or whatever, it's strictly the language that you were basically born into.
yeah. Do you know there were two directors in this film?
Mm-mm. No, I didn't. I only knew about the one.
All right, I'm gonna control F. And yeah, Slumdog Millionaire, directed by Danny Boyle and Loveleen Tandan.
Hmm.
And that person, let me look them up so I know who they are. That she directed the Hindi spoken sections, and he spoke the English speaking sections.
Hmm. Okay. I mean, that's good. That's a plus.
Yeah, so there's a full like an Indian director directed a lot of the film, or a
Hmm.
significant portion. Um, and also like, well, one Dev Patel. This is the beginning of his explosion in the U.S. Obviously, but there were a lot of actors who are primarily Indian actors, like Anil Kapoor, the host of Who Wants to Be a Millionaire, Irfan Khan, who you might remember from The Amazing Spider-Man 1.
Ooh.
Uh,
Actually, I didn't.
yeah, he's also in, let me see, stuff you might have seen. He's in Jurassic World. He was the tech billionaire who crashed his helicopter. Um, he was cast in The Martian for an Indian character from the book, but he did an Indian film instead. He had to choose one or the other.
Hmm.
And then Ridley Scott cast maybe a white person. I don't know. I don't remember. But everyone was like, why'd you whitewash the Indian character? And and like the main defense is like, they cast Irfan Khan, then he couldn't do it. And I'm just like, yeah, because there's only one Indian actor.
Yes, only one in Hollywood. That's the only one they could find. He was busy that day, couldn't do it.
um, but I want to say I forgot that Anil Kapoor was in this movie. Because when I started watching Indian films and I see him, and I was like, the guy from Mission Impossible Ghost Protocol, a movie
I
Brad
know
hasn't
you.
seen.
You and I are friends.
Yeah. I remember his dance, which is tick, 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 tick,
That's crazy.
Brad doesn't understand anything I'm saying because he hasn't seen
Nope.
it.
I've not seen past one.
I do need to get on top of actually getting the minutes together so you can start watching this. But like there were just people that I recognized, and you know, I don't know. There's a thousand ways for like an American director to just show that they don't give a shit about something that could have been done much better with a non-American actor or director. The best example I'm gonna give is well, I'll say Mulan. I haven't seen the live action Mulan, but I hear it's trash. And
I haven't seen it because I heard the same
director,
thing.
yeah. The one I have seen is the live action Aladdin, which was Guy Ritchie, and he was literally on the Joe Rogan podcast saying, yeah, I'm doing Aladdin next because there's a release date. Yeah, even when I heard that in the interview, I was like, all right, it's not going to be good.
You've already got the end date to this, so obviously it's not gonna go well.
Yeah, if
I hold my breath,
I'm open to the, Danny Boyle is an incredibly talented director, so, but there has to be a director from India who would have done it even better. There just has to be,
There has to be, absolutely.
Like I don't think every director from India would do as good a job because Danny Boyle is just incredibly talented and has a huge history. So, there's got to be a Michael Bay of India that I don't know about.
Wow.
Or just for hired directors. You know what I mean?
Are we trying to blow up the slums here? Come on, let's get out of here. It was actually Daniel Boyle's first time to India. Was when he started doing the film scouting for this. So fun fact there.
Then I gotta say he did a great job because I'm in the middle of watching a 2-part 4-hour YouTube videos talking about how Raya and the Last Dragon really did not give a shit about doing Southeast Asian representation, even though they marketed it that way. It like breaks down all these things of like, wow, you really Americanized us. Thanks.
Thanks. We appreciate this.
So like this one just doesn't strike me as like he phoned this in. And again, I don't know what he did wrong, but you could just tell, at least for me, that I'm like, okay, they fucking tried. Like, and for the most, at least in terms of like storytelling, they succeed in the story. But in terms of like actual cultural accuracy, got no idea. But I could tell, I could feel the effort. Like, yeah, if let me put it this way. When I watched the movie Odd Thomas with Anton Yelchin, which is directed by Steven Sommers, who you may know for The Mummy, The Mummy Returns, G.I. Joe, Rise of Cobra, it's a very small movie. And when I watch it, I'm just like, buddy, you got to leave those blockbuster days behind. You got little Anton Yelchin throwing somebody, like having a little fist fight. Don't make breakaway mirrors. And don't have him bust down doors. Like, he is not Brendan Fraser. He's a tiny little boy. And, I didn't explain that well. He filmed it like it was a big action set piece. And I'm like, this isn't the movie for that. Where was I going with this?
I have no idea. You
started
going down.
Don't watch the movie Odd Thomas.
Okay.
Yeah, what was I saying? I don't know. I don't know, but oh, here, I'll save it. Danny Boyle is self-aware enough to know that he needs to adapt his styles to the project. He needs to
Okay.
change his style as
Save
appropriate.
saved it.
Stephen Sommers did not know that when he did Odd Thomas, and yeah, I was gonna throw
Yeah.
Michael Bay under the bus again, but I was like, actually, all this shit, it makes sense for his style. I'm just gonna shut up because I feel like I've talked too much, and this is your movie.
Oh no, I'm good. You have a lot of knowledge, and I like hearing your opinion, so I'm good with it. Um,
Oh,
oh,
leave
um,
your wife for me. What?
yeah, yeah. Shared thinks that. Don't put that out there. Um, um, but this movie, there's one of the things that I noticed while rewatching this movie now with a little bit more of a critical eye, because I knew I was going to be doing a podcast, not just watching this movie to watch the movie. I wish they have a lot of very cinematography moments and a lot of like trying to think of what the word is here that I'm looking for, where they use color to describe things, where Lithica always has on yellow. And that's pulled throughout the movie all the way to the end, where she's wearing a yellow scarf on the train tracks. I wish they would have. I wish they would have taken that just a little bit farther, or possibly did that with both her and his brother Salim, because they really did that really well with her, pulling her through all in yellow, but they didn't do that with anything else that I noticed.
Yeah.
I cannot remember what the name of that word, what that word is that I'm looking for here.
Doing like a story with colors kind of thing.
Yeah, there's a word for it too, and I just cannot remember what it is off the top of my head. I had it earlier today.
I guess they did the movie version of How I Met Your Mother. Since the mother always has the yellow umbrella, but none of the main characters get to.
Yeah, it's something like that where nobody else gets it, but they pull that one color through all the way. Oh, I'm never gonna. The
Isn't it
symbolism,
color theory?
the symbolism of the color. How's that? Saved it.
I was gonna throw in. I randomly found out that the guy who's the host, is speaking on the fact that India has done adaptations of U.S. things. He starred in 24 India from 2013 to 2016. Which is
Okay.
just fucking great. What is it called when you use color to tell a story in a movie? I think it's color theory.
Yeah, symbology, something. It's something.
All I see is how to use color theory in film, and that was the third result. So maybe.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure there's a word for it, but I wish they would have done that more. They did a really, really good job with Lithica all the way through with her in yellow. Every time
Yeah.
you see her, she has something yellow, a yellow shirt, yellow blouse, the
Do you
yellow
know why
scarf at
it's
the end.
yellow?
I do not know why I tell, but it definitely stands out.
Scientifically, yellow is the most eye-catching color to the human eye. That's why sales tags at Walmart are yellow. That I believe that's probably why the umbrella in How I Met Your Mother is yellow. And yeah, like literally science. Yellow is the most just literally eye-catching color.
Yeah, I mean, okay. I mean, I believe you. I don't have anything to disagree with you. To me, I figured it'd be red, but just because yellow to me, and maybe it's just my poor vision, gets washed out in whites and stuff. So if you look at across a field, a green field with flowers, you got white and yellow flowers. I think a lot of that yellow will get washed out. But hey, I don't know. I'm not a scientist.
I'll fact check myself. What is the most eye-catching color? The color that catches the human eye the most is either red or orange. Yellow is also a valid candidate in some cases.
Yeah, orange I could see. Yeah,
How do you give three different options?
it's the best one. Pick one.
So another one said yellow is the most eye-catching color, but yellow can be fatiguing to the eye and overbearing to the mind. Um, yeah. But yeah, that's why when red paint kept like falling off stop signs or whatever, or washing off of stop signs, they used yellow in the meantime.
That's interesting. Yeah, I have never seen a stop sign rain red, the color run off of it.
That was back in the day.
Oh.
Yeah, weirdly, most of the results except the first result all say yellow. Yeah, okay, so since yellow is the most visible color of all yellows, is the color that the human eye notices. It is the first color that the human eye notices.
Okay.
Probably some evolutionary thing of knowing where the sun is.
Yeah, I mean, it definitely could be. So part of this movie, or throughout this whole movie, one of the themes is kind of how his brother always kind of undermines him through most of this movie up until the very end. I could not imagine having a brother like that and still like believing, blood is thicker than water kind of stuff.
Yeah.
You know what I mean, even from the beginning, he's the older brother, so obviously he's already got that kind of going on for him. But then like sell his photo of the Indian pop star or the Indian movie star, locks him in the toilet, sells that for pennies basically.
Yeah, I will say there is a very important thing he does that might have just, given that little bit of grace, not fully trusted him, but the fact that he saved him from being blinded.
Yeah.
And, your kids, I don't believe either one has hit like the age where you stop maturing. You know what I mean? They're still young by the end of the movie.
Yeah, because I think he's like 20, I think is what they say in the movie. I think
I have no idea.
There's like 20.
I'd just be shocked if he's like 25, 30.
Yeah, I don't think he's that old. I think he's like 20.
Yeah. Once you hit 25, you have no hope for love. If you haven't found it, you get real cynical.
Just jump.
Did you say just jump?
No, I didn't.
What did you say? Chump?
Whatever I said is washed away in the times of history, and here we are.
Oh, you said just jump, like how he jumped with his brother.
Exactly. I was talking about the Van Halen song "Jump."
Interestingly, the first person who was torturing him is also a staple of Indian cinema based on their IMDb.
What do you mean? Oh,
the bald fellow.
Okay.
Who Irfan Khan told to use the electricity.
Gotcha.
Yeah. So yeah, they really I mean, what is it? They did a hell of a lot more than Ridley Scott in The Martian. Like they casted the shit out of this cast. For like the supporting characters in terms of actual Indian talent.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I'm trying to think of there was something else I want to talk about that kind of like a little bit kind of stopped me from putting it up in the ayahuasca tier. I'm trying to remember exactly what it was. Oh, it was some of the framing. Some of the I know this movie won an award for cinematography, but some of the shots that they used, especially when they were interrogating what's his name, and like they would show like half the screen would be blocked up with his body and it'd be like tilted angled and you'd be seeing the cop interrogating him, but you only see him through like half the screen at a diagonal. And it's like you're looking up at him even though he's hanging. If you were doing his perspective, you'd be looking down because he's hanging from the ceiling.
Yeah.
So some of the framing stuff kind of irked me too.
Okay. Well, you've seen it 10 times. This is my second time. It didn't hit me like that, but I haven't seen it as much as you.
Yeah.
I mean, I like, what is it? Did you see Yesterday? It's another film directed by Danny Boyle.
I have not.
There are some times where there's like some Dutch angles and it's really cool. And I don't know if it was necessary, but it was like cool for that moment and it didn't outstay its welcome. It did not do Thor 1, where, you'd try filling up a bingo card with the number of non-Dutch angles that ever show up. But yeah, that's fair enough. If it hit you like that, it hit you like that.
Yeah, it just kind of it took me out of the moment. I mean, because this movie does a really good job of keeping you kind of on your toes and keeping you like, because they do the back and forth, the flashbacks, the past, the future, with the especially right away in the beginning, you see little Jamal, and then you see grown up Lithia in the train stations. So they do a really good job bouncing back.
Sorry, youngest Jamal is actually the character.
Youngest
I'm just best
teenager.
Yeah, but I think literally the credits are like youngest, young, and older of each name. But no, I was just messing with you.
So they paid, obviously they had to pay all the actors. Fun fact about this movie is that they paid the youngest ones, but they put it in a trust fund, and they had to graduate school first at 16 to get them to receive the money. And they actually hired a driver to take them to school every day, back and forth to school every day until they were 16.
That's fucking awesome. So, if like the first part of it, I was like, oh, that's cool. I hope it has compound interest, but also like, what if they don't? What if just life gets in the way? What the fuck? And then that's so cool. You know what? I thought that was you just answered my thing of the question of like, what did you do for the country? Like, of course, doing that for like three kids is like nothing compared to the budget and profits that you make. But still, this is a nice, sweet little thing.
Yeah. This is also the second movie to win Best Pictures at the Oscars, where a child has to jump into a waste pool underneath the toilet. You're welcome. Schindler's List.
Okay, I've never seen Schindler's List.
Oh, please don't. Oh, it is.
I'm gonna have to one day.
It's hard. It's hard to watch.
So that I can understand the reference that Ari Gold makes to Liam Neeson
in
the Entourage movie.
Oh, is it about how he's the savior of the Jews or something? Or
no, Ari Gold. Have you watched a lot of Entourage?
I cannot say I've seen a single episode.
All right, Jeremy Piven.
Okay.
He's at a stop sign or a red light, and Liam Neeson pulls up in another sports car. He's like, "Hey, Schindler's List." He's like, "Fuck you, Ari." Hey, or no, I think he says like Liam at first, and then he's like, and then when he says, "Fuck off, Ari," or something like that, he starts driving. He's like, "I thought it was No Jews Left Behind." Schindler's List. Anyway,
I can tell you the meaning without ruining Schindler's List, because it's like the beginning.
I know the scene. I know the story ish.
Okay, then you're good. Yeah, then you're good.
I know he's the main character in Schindler's List, and it's also a black and white film.
Except for the red dress and the little child.
Okay. Girl.
She appears like 2 or 3 times throughout the movie.
I'm gonna watch in 20 years and be like, shit, I saw this when I was 10.
Yeah, it's a tough movie. It's definitely tough. I mean, it's like the Pianist. It's like that level of tough.
You enunciated just enough.
Yeah, the Pianist
and
Pianist
in both directions. You enunciated just enough for it to clearly not be penis, but just not enough that for a hot second you're like, what?
I'm firing on all cylinders today.
You threaded that needle perfectly to reference Ted Lasso.
I'm in.
Um, Dude, I watched Who Wants to Be a Millionaire so much as a kid.
And I think that does a really good job driving this movie forward. Without that kind of setup, I don't know how this movie would realistically function without a major change to it. Because that whole thing drives the game show drives this movie point to point to point, and we skip a lot through their life. So without that game show function, this movie wouldn't really exist. It would have to be changed to the point where it wouldn't even be recognizable.
You know what it would be?
What?
Moonlight. The movie Moonlight is like this without a framing device.
Oh, okay. I've seen this movie.
The movie that La La Land tried to steal its Oscar.
Oh, nice.
No, there's that whole kerfuffle or mix up at the Oscars. They accidentally announced La La Land instead of Moonlight.
Yeah, actually, I just watched this not that long ago, probably within the last month or so.
Dude, that's fascinating because while Moonlight was like, it was good, I wasn't gripped. You know, like I was, and that makes so much sense because we were just steadily going through this guy's life and it was good, but there was no hook or tease. It didn't Mr. Beast it, you know. It didn't add to the story so that to increase retention to talk in YouTube speak.
Yeah.
Wow. Okay. Because I liked Moonlight and I had no problem with it, but I was like, why am I not on the edge of my seat?
Yeah.
Blind Spotting did something similar where they do the countdowns, 3 days left of probation, and
to push the movie forward.
Yeah. Wow. You actually blew my mind just a little bit with Moonlight, like taking away the. I mean, obviously, we don't get a third act in this movie without it, because he never talks to her. But Moonlight, he just went to a random restaurant and found him. So,
well, after he called him or whatever.
Oh yeah,
after he called him out of the middle of nowhere. It's
been a long time since I saw that.
Yeah, like I said, I watched it at least in 2022.
Mm-hmm.
It was after, so it was for sure after Christmas and everything. So, yeah, but without that, I mean, he doesn't really find his brother. He doesn't really find Lithika. He doesn't try and meet up with them the last time.
Yeah.
His brother doesn't kill the gangster and die. You know, I mean, that wouldn't have really happened. They would have just kept living.
Yeah, dude, the two biggest moments that I'll say that gripped me were, and I remembered the first one, but even before I rewatched it, when the middle age actor like kicked his brother out so that he could be the big tough gangster.
Oh, and locked him out of the hotel room. And
then later when the host fed him the wrong answer, I was just like,
he said, do you know who the last person to get out of the slums was? Me. So he feeds him the wrong answer so he wouldn't be.
Yeah, that's so fucking wild. I don't get why people, when they get to a certain level, like they have such a scarcity mindset that they imagine that someone else getting to that level
is gonna take them out or remove them.
Yeah, it's like what do you think?
I mean, and this isn't the only movie to do something like that. I mean, think about like every like gangster mob movie. Like as you move up the ranks, like people start getting more and more skeptical and like, I gotta watch my back.
Yeah, I can see that as different. I can see that being different because you're in, like, let's say you just control 10 blocks and all the drug trade there. If someone comes in and you don't take care of them, now you've lost half your business. And it's illegal. So you can't just go on Amazon and start selling it. There's not so much flexibility in your revenue sources. So that I could get. But like in this case, he's a fuck. What do you think? Next week, Dev Patel is going to be the host of your show? One, even if he was, you still have all your millions that you can keep investing in your bullshit. Like whatever bullshit you invest in, you'll never go hungry the rest of your life as long as you don't have a gambling addiction. like fuck. If both of us like got $1 million tomorrow, all the other people who are millionaires wouldn't like there wouldn't be two people who then drop out and they're like fuck. You know?
Or dropped out directly because of our actions.
Yeah, it wouldn't be like, you know, it. The last time that I could see that being true is back when like we were in tribes, and like maybe the hunters and gatherers didn't do as good a job, and now there's not enough food. So if you take a second helping, you're literally Squid Game. If you take 2 eggs, someone has no eggs. Like I don't get why people have that mentality about money. It's just so stupid. Anyway, it just got me riled up.
So this whole movie pins really on obviously him growing up the way he did and knowing the answers the way he did, to the point of admitting murder to the cops and everything like that.
Thank God he wasn't the murderer.
Yeah. Well, then when the cop was saying that, like, wait, why are you admitting murder? I didn't murder anybody. Like, yes, I'm telling you my brother did, but I didn't do it. So you can't arrest me for it.
I mean, if the laws are similar to the US laws, he could totally be in jail for just not reporting it.
Not reporting. They could probably string together he was an accomplice kind of thing.
Yeah. An accessory to murder.
But I like how it comes all the way down to something that happens in the beginning of the movie and it comes down to the end of the movie and he still doesn't know that answer and just guesses. I don't. The money means nothing to him. He heard from Lithika, so he knows she's okay.
Yeah.
And but it starts off of that movie within the first 10 minutes when they're reading it in the classroom, and they say the two, but they never say the third one throughout this entire movie.
Yeah.
And he makes reference to it when they add Lithika to their 2-man team, and then I think they make reference of it one more time towards the end, and then the question comes up of the two musketeers, who's the third one?
I don't know if it's equally spread out. I'd have to go back and actually like write down each time, but I noticed before that 2 of the answers were A. I don't know why I connected it then. So at the end when he randomly chooses A, I'm like, did the writer just have a propensity towards A? What's going on? But I knew the thing is, I knew that the fourth one was D'Artagnan. So part of my brain just like, C, do C. And the other part is like, no, that's the fourth one. Stop it. There's a fourth musketeer. I don't know why it's called the third musketeer. D'Artagnan is the one they is like C. And I'm like, shit, I honestly don't know if it's A or D. But
yeah, but I like how they pull that all the way through the movie. And I like how sometimes they would tell you the answer before they ask the question. Like right before they ask the question, you'd find out the answer. They would continue on with that scene. And then there were some times where he basically he would answer the question on the game show, and then they would tell you how he got to that answer.
Yeah, like the blind boy saying Benjamin Franklin.
Yep.
I really liked the blind boy knew it was Jamal. Like pretty quickly. That was cool.
Within like the first like 15 to 20 seconds of just talking to him based on his voice.
Yeah. I thought the Americans were hilarious.
Yeah.
Like
I even mentioned that to Bethany. I was like, this is what America really is. And then like hands him like $100 bill.
Yeah. And I've watched, I forget which one it is, but like I've watched Indian movies where they like do American culture. I forget which one it was, but there's one where they do an American song sequence. And it's like, it's as if they just invited the YMCA crew.
Oh, nice.
Like, don't change your clothes. Come over and do our thing as well. Like it's that, and it's not that kind of movie where everyone is like dressing up as the most action figure-y version of their, it's not that. It just is, oh, this is, this is sticking out like a sore thumb because this isn't America. But it's pretty fucking hilarious. So if there's one thing that Danny Boyle may have been undoubtedly better at doing, it's portraying the ignorance of Americans without making them just pure caricatures versus an Indian director, potentially. But that was hilarious. And I kind of wanted a moment where he was like, next time you get kicked by the card or whatever, to make it clear that was also part of the plan, instead of, because I was totally expecting him to run away. Like, yeah, and now you have to ditch them right before they get back to the car. Okay. Oh, shit. No, he's getting his face kicked in. Fuck. Yeah, dude, this
something else about the questions of this movie. I really like how there were questions that he didn't know. Yes. He doesn't know the last answer. They brought up the story of the most what is the word? Most centuries, most like class 1 centuries.
Yeah, the one that he tried feeding him the wrong one.
Yeah, but he didn't know the answer.
50-50.
The only reason he got 50-50, and the only reason why he was pretty confident it wasn't the answer that he fed him, was because he kind of gave him that line of, the last person to pull out of the slums was that was me. So he kind of had a feeling that, he is not on his side.
Yeah. And was it the first one was what's on the flag that he didn't know? He asked the audience. It was like his second or third question.
Yeah, it was like the second. Yeah, I think it was the second or third question.
Which, by the way, you could have guessed it. Like I guessed it correctly, because the others are like money and fame and or stuff like that. Stuff that's like, that'd be really weird if on a flag, I know this isn't exactly what it said, but it's just like money makes the world go round. It's like, why is that on the flag? Although it being so early, I don't blame him. He's nervous. He knows what's on the line for him. If he doesn't make it a long time, then
there's a chance that she doesn't see him, because that's one of her favorite shows.
Yeah, and
she kind of gets scolded when she watches it.
Yeah,
and then he changes it to cricket.
So if like someone went to Danny Boyle, was like, why didn't you, or the original writer, and like, why didn't you just have him guess? And they said, dude, do you know how fucking stressed out that character is in this moment? Like, he is nervous and he is not going to take any chances at this point. I'd be like, oh yeah, totally fair.
Yeah. And he didn't have a story or anything for that. He just didn't know. I mean, his quips that he gives to the officers are pretty funny, where he's like, well, do you know who stole the constable's bike last week? He's like, wait, you know who did that? And he was like, everybody knows that. Even children know that.
Oh, I love that, because I meant to bring that up and I forgot, because it's so important, I think, to know that you don't know everything. And just because you know something doesn't mean someone else would. One of the cringiest terms I kept hearing as a kid was, it's common sense. And like, when I was a kid, it made me really depressed when my parents would be like, what are you talking? It's common sense. And like, as I grow up, I'm like, there's no fucking thing as common sense. Common sense is breathing. because that's what's common. Shared sense is what I would prefer, or shared knowledge, or is what I would prefer, or like popular knowledge for this region. What do most people? I've had so many people say, "Don't say you're ignorant." I was like, "What? I'm ignorant of a lot of stuff. I have no shame." Literally no one on earth. If every person was the blind law, or the law scales, if every person was holding scales, they'll never have the stuff I'm not ignorant about outweigh what they. I don't know why I just got on my soapbox about that, but I loved that for how elegantly it put, like, just because your 5-year-old knows that in your nice fancy clothes doesn't mean everybody does.
Yeah, but that crime you've been trying to solve, everybody outside of this office knows that answer. All you gotta do is ask. But then because he does it twice. He does it for that, and he also does the $100 bill, because he asks him, like, who's on the $1,000 note.
Yeah,
he's like, I don't know, and he shows him it's Gandhi, and he's like, oh, I've heard of that guy. So he kind of does it to him twice, and I don't remember which one's which. I think it was the
flag was first.
Well, I think the money was first, and then when he brought it up about something about the bike outside, I think it happened like twice, where there's just like, just because you know something doesn't mean I know something.
I'm cheating because I know based on the age of the children, but the 50-50, the thing on the flag was like his second or third question. Mm-hmm. And then the $100 bill one was way later.
Yeah.
Because we're in the blind teen years.
Yeah. A picture of the 3 lines is seen on the national emblem of India. What is written underneath it? The 4 answers are: money alone triumphs, fashion alone triumphs, lies alone triumph, and the truth alone triumphs.
Yeah. So that's one. If you're like, if you have a clear head, and you can just guess, you'd be like, I'd be shocked if lying and fashion, maybe money, depending on who decided to.
There's an argument there, but I mean, if you were to think about a national thing, you're not going to. Now, a cynical mind would say, yeah, money triumphs in a country like, and when you're poor in a country like that, money triumphs.
Yeah. But the thing that rich people need to remember to do is that if you remind the poors that money triumphs, then they'll want money. So you need to distract them. You need to tell them the meek shall inherit the earth, so you can manipulate them into being servitudical.
Yeah, absolutely. You're not wrong. You're not wrong.
You can't tell them stuff's fucked up. You need to lie.
So they will keep going.
Yeah, so that's why you tell them, was it trust? What's the actual correct answer? You were just reading it.
The
truth or truth. So you tell them that the truth shall set them free. And that's total bullshit. Yeah, I don't know what else I've got to say about the movie. Anything else for you?
Well, obviously I've got my trusty back pocket one, but
the budget.
The budget.
I was going to ask about
one of the reasons why I think this movie is one of that's severely underappreciated, which is the whole reason why we're doing most of these movies, or all these movies. So this movie was originally made, was it by WB, or it was made by Warner Brothers?
No. Well, I don't know who it was made by, but there were 4 companies. It was 20th Century Fox, then Warner Brothers. I only noticed because I was like, what? Why are they both partnering on this? And then Warner 2 smaller ones.
Yeah, Warner Independent Films acquired the rights, sold it to, or they merged with Warner Brothers, the parent company. At the end of the year, they were trying to get it released. They couldn't get it released, so they sold it off to Fox Spotlight or Searchlight Films.
Gotcha.
Fox Spotlight Films or Pictures actually moved it. They were considering doing it direct to DVD, and then they decided to do a theater
Wow.
release.
Wow.
So I mean, you want to
Yeah,
talk about underappreciated, like a movie that was so close to not even being released.
it's the poltergeist of love stories.
Yeah, won't go away.
Yeah. No, or sorry, not poltergeist. Was it the oh, what was that found footage horror film about the possession? Paranormal Activity. That's what I
Oh, okay.
meant to say. Like it's a tiny little thing that exploded way past the expectations of the studios.
It's the highest grossing film from
Poltergeist.
from Fox Spotlight Pictures. So it's still to this day still the highest ranking or highest earning film,
All
and
right,
past Juno.
ooh, do you know we need to watch that one day.
Juno's
Before
pretty good.
you tell me the budget, I'm actually going to ask what was the box office?
The box office number was 378 million.
378 million. I'm looking up the box office just so I can see international versus domestic, and I'm trying. I don't know if it'll have the. Oh, it does have the budget. I'm closing one eye. Let's see it. Okay, so there was. I'm just putting my hand over. It was okay. So international was actually more than domestic, which is something that I wouldn't have been surprised if it was reversed. You know, with how much.
I wouldn't be surprised, but at the same time, I'm not surprised because this was still very popular in India. It was the fourth largest opening weekend film in India.
Wow.
By a non-Indian movie.
Okay.
At that time, I don't know if it still is.
I'm going to shout out a film that people should check out that has a similar-ish title, which is Guppy Boy.
That is another one that gets added to the controversy as like the poverty porn kind of things. Because there were some people that I saw that were really aggravated about that movie as well, and they lumped it in with this movie.
Sorry, I actually think I may have said the wrong title.
No, it's Gully Boy.
I said Guppy Boy on accident.
Oh, Gully. Yeah, Gully.
So, yeah, you're right. Although, interestingly, there is a movie called Guppy.
And it's a blue fish with yellow spots. And they sing an annoying song about Guppy, Guppy, Guppy.
All right. Well, all right then. Well, it was a good movie. I have no idea if it's accurate, but Gully Boy was really great.
Yep. And it follows the same, kids from the slums, which is another reason why it kind of got lumped into the controversy with Slumdog Millionaire. Because it also won a couple of awards too.
That's interesting because Gully Boy came out in 2019, so I wonder why. I mean, they're so far apart, relatively speaking, in release dates.
Yeah, but it still kind of follows the same basic outline.
Mm-hmm.
So they kind of get lumped together. The same controversy outline, so that kind of gets lumped together. Yeah. So yeah.
What were we just? There was something else we were just talking about, and I had something to say before I wanted to shut up. Gully Boy. What was the last thing you said?
We were doing the box office numbers and the domestic versus international.
All right, so never mind. I'm just waiting for you to say the. But yeah, that went back to my question of like, I wonder if this was just mostly a hit in the U.S. and then the rest of the world was like, we don't care. But that's interesting. That is fourth highest opening in India.
Yeah, for a non-Indian movie. And you got to think like there's Titanic. You got to think of like everything before this. All those box office movies that did really well in the United States that may not have done over there.
Is it still the fourth highest, or was it the fourth highest?
It was the fourth highest at the time. I don't know if it still is, because I would have to imagine some of these Avengers, yeah, that opened up everywhere, super strong.
All right, sir. What's the budget? I think I accidentally peaked it.
The budget was $15 million.
Okay. I saw a one, so I was like, oh no. Wow, 15 million. Half the price of well, I guess if they used an Indian crew with the conversion, they might have gotten away with.
Yeah.
That's interesting because I don't know with all the how restrictive the unions can be here with their rules. And I shouldn't say restrictive because it's good that unions somewhere have stayed in place in this country of the US. But I wonder how primarily US production, what they're allowed to do in terms of hiring in another country. Like, do they still have to make it primarily, even if it's 5149, primarily US crew? Or can they go somewhere with the director and, a few people that they've already chosen, that they've worked with, maybe an editor, maybe a cinematographer, and then hire the rest of the crew in India?
Yeah.
Although maybe they got away with that because it is two directors.
Possibly. And also I'm sure they didn't have to do many like permitting and stuff like that.
Is permit law very different in India?
I'm sure they kind of snuck by some of it. They probably had to pay some people some money, I'm sure, but I'm sure it's not like the United States where you're talking, oh, you want to do a movie here? Sure. But we're going to charge you $250,000 for, a month's worth of your time.
Yeah. If they did it in like California.
Yeah. Orlando. But yeah, I mean, it's such a good movie. And it just, for me, just a few little nitpicky things throughout the movie. But this is one of those movies that I would sit down and watch pretty much at any given time for absolutely no reason. You wouldn't have to give me a reason to watch this movie, and I would still enjoy it.
Yeah, I don't think there's any weak links in the cast or, just the general. I wouldn't change the story structure. Really, the none of the controversy, I think, is tied to the story. That sounded so stupid. no one was like, how dare you make a poorly told story?
The Dev and Frida, the two main the actor and actress, dated for quite a while after this movie, up until 2014. So,
wow,
yeah, that's what, 6 years, 7 years.
Well, good for them. I hope it ended amicably, even though I don't know how you do that. At least in my experience, apparently. That's interesting. I didn't know that.
Yeah. I mean, in the movie, they work really well together. The part of this movie that really hits for me also, now I'm thinking about it, because I thought of those two and I thought of the end number dance sequence. The amount of the music that they use in this movie works out really well. Jai Ho, even though it's not in English, I mean, it sounds like a fantastic song. I mean, kind of gets you bopping every time. And then obviously Paper Planes by MIA as a big part of this movie too. So,
how did their failed reunion hit you? When she showed up at that's one detail I really like. Okay, wait, it's so late for me to mention this, but I was joking about how her situation, she might not actually be in love with him, and that's because obviously she's experienced 15 years of abuse or 10 years of abuse, and you'll love anyone who is promising to get you out of there. Like, that's not just because she's a woman in that situation. I would love anyone if I had been abused for a decade and they said, I can make it end. I'll be like, oh, Jonah Hill? Okay. Jonah Hill seems like a nice enough guy. I didn't mean to drag him down there, but, sorry, Jonah. He's no Channing Tatum.
Yeah.
But I love that moment because there was no hesitation. There wasn't some big montage of him like coming there for months and months and months, and then her not showing up, which is what I thought was going to happen. She tries, and she tries, and
you can, well, before we get that far, you can see it on him like he's been trying for a while because of the frustration he gets. He kind of slouches down, he sits down for a minute, decides to get up and take another look. So you can tell that aggravation, like he's been there, he's been doing this, and this happens to be the day.
Really, because that hit me as like he's been there for like half an hour and she hasn't shown up, and
Possibly.
he's gotten his hopes up. I didn't see it as like months and months, but maybe it was. I don't
Yeah,
know.
I mean, either way it would work because the way he explains it to her, I'll always be here at this time,
Yeah, but
and like
I
he kind of slumped that time. So in my mind, he'd been doing this for a little while, and he was starting to give up hope.
yeah. I'll say I love that she's actually looking for him because she's in a train station. If her only goal was just to get the fuck out of there, and she didn't care if he was like, if he shows
Yeah.
up, he shows up. If he doesn't, fuck off. She's late and looking for him instead of just looking for the nearest train. She could have escaped on her own
Easy.
potentially. But yeah, just that one, it made me believe that she actually has been thinking about him the same way he's been thinking about her. At least when she's not trying to forget the situation she's in. And then it was so heartbreaking just see it that close. Ooh.
Yeah. And then who's the one to grab her? His brother.
Yeah. And I was like, oh no, I know this is going to happen no matter what because of the story that needs to happen. But the fact that there were three other goons, I was like, if there weren't those three other goons, there might be a chance that he like quote unquote fails. But
Yeah. But I mean, at the end, I mean, I'm not gonna say he does the right thing, but I mean, like he, kills the gangster that he's been working for. That gets shown like right away in one of the beginnings, the opening scene, the opening chase scene. They slam into his car when they're running through the slums. But yeah, because they kind of fail. They kind of fail a couple times. Their reunion. Because he fails when they get the hotel room. He fails then, and then he fails at the mansion or whatever when he finally tracks him down to the mansion where the guy, the millionaire lives.
Yeah.
And pretends to be a dishwasher chef. Makes a terrible sandwich. That he doesn't even make. I think it was Lithia that made most of it, or she gave him the ingredients to make it.
They did a bad collaboration because he put like peanut butter and jelly, and then she started putting fucking lettuce. And I'm like, you both you're trying to do something good. You just gotta do it separate.
Yeah. Coordination is key.
I just remembered his fucking smile when he got to make the call. And he's just like, yeah, I don't know. I just want to take a chance. And then especially after he like talks to her and knows she's safe. And she's like, yeah, I've never known either. He's like, I just don't care. I would have been, if I hadn't seen it before, I totally could have seen him just be like, no, I quit. I'm not even going to answer.
Well, in the original game show, I know that they had different tiers where you kind of locked in, so you couldn't when you answer a question wrong, you went back to that tier, so you didn't lose everything. Like $1,000 was a tier, like $50,000 was a tier, $100,000 was a tier.
Yeah.
And then you could have just not answered the question and quit. So you weren't forced to answer the question. You could quit and go back and take the money that you had already earned.
Oh, I think they have that. I think they do that because there was the point where he hands him the check and he gives it back.
Yeah, he gives it back.
So yeah, he could have had probably like, I don't know what the conversion rate for that time period was, but he could probably had like $50,000 essentially.
I think what is it, 20 million crowns was essential to, or basically $250,000 in the US. I think that when he handed back the check, that was the 10 million, which would have been 125,000. But still, I mean, to have that kind of money, when most people live on less than like $1 a day, $2 a day, kind of thing.
Yeah, it wouldn't have gone. It wouldn't have gone just to the 10 million crow. I don't think. Right? It would have gone a lot lower than that.
Yeah, no, it should have fell back down to like 1 million krone or something like that, or like 2 or 3 questions before that. But yeah, I mean, he wouldn't have lost everything. He would have lost a lot. but he wouldn't lost everything. But he gained what he wanted to gain at the end of the day.
Yeah. I'm trying to put 20 million to US and see what it would be today. Indian rupees would be $267,000 today.
Yeah. It's not bad.
It really I thought them going to 20 million rupees was like so that it would be $1 million in the US
or close
for the time.
Yeah.
Otherwise I would be like, okay, so you'll do a million Indian rupees, but that's actually disappointing to me. Let's see, if in today's money, in $1 million US would be 74,647,000 Indian rupees. Man, they're really just not. It's borderline deceptive.
Yeah.
Because you could, if they're using the name millionaire and just literally tying it to rupees, people could just take $1 million rupees and be like 7 questions early or whatever, and just be like, "Well, I am now a millionaire."
Yeah, you take your 7 questions, and then when you convert it to US, it's like, "Hey, congrats on that $20,000."
Yeah.
I wouldn't be that low. Let's see. 20 was quarter mil. 10, yeah. 15,000.
13,000.
Yeah.
$396.
Somebody handed me $13,000 right now, I'd probably high five them and give them a hug. But
yeah, remind me if I ever go on Who Wants to Be a Millionaire in India to just not sweat it.
No, just think back to your past, and you'll know.
But it would be so less stressful if I'm like, okay, if I do 80% of this or whatever, I get $13,000. I'm just gonna have fun, because if I get the 13, cool. I'll probably fail way before then, and then oh no, I lost $2,000.
Yeah.
Not poo-pooing $2,000, but it's the equivalent. Let's see. Who Wants to Be a Millionaire? What would I say to know all the money levels? Why is the first result in pounds? Is this originally a UK show?
I have no idea.
Okay, so there's 15 questions. The first lock-in is $1,000. The second lock-in is $32,000. And then the final lock-in is $1 million. So let's see. Who Wants to Be a Millionaire? India money levels. Okay, the US again just showed me pounds and dollars. So fuck me.
Yeah. I'm doing the same thing.
Okay, I don't know if this is just fake.
I see the Japan one, or Japanese one.
I see 7 crores and 1 crore, and then 50.
They make reference to crores or crowns or crows or something.
So yeah,
I don't know if that's like a.
I'm really just confused by this, because then the numbers go down, and instead of it being 50 million, it's 50,000,000, 0,000. So just to be clear, take 50 million, and then in that middle, in between the 2 commas, take out a 0. And that's absolutely
no reason.
Well, I'm sure, like, that's how all the numbers with 2 commas are in this. Oh yeah, it's literally from a site called Millionaire Fans. And it says my recreation of some money trees. So it's a recreation. So I don't know. But yeah.
Yeah. The last thing I really got was the first and only kiss between Jamal and Lithgow was right at the end.
Yeah.
Despite being so close so many times.
Frozen right before like a fully what I would consider a full kiss. Not as in like tongues being involved, but like just the pressure. Like there's the where it's barely a kiss. Just quick like and it's gone. And then there's the and you just feel the full pressure. That sounds so weird. Full pressure of one face being pushed against another, and it just freezes right in the middle of that. It's like, and it's literally just because it's a freeze frame that I'm like, huh, that's interesting. Why there?
Yeah.
When it's a matter of frames before you get the full kiss.
Yeah, and the whole movie rides on this moment.
Yeah.
Like everything the money we're thinking about Who Wants to Be a Millionaire. Everything this movie's built up to is and pushed and pulled away from this couple to like freeze it like 3 frames before.
And to be clear, I'm not unsatisfied. Like,
oh no,
like when I saw it, I wasn't like, oh, this is as cringy as the kiss in Spider-Man 2. It doesn't look like they want to be kissing. And then it hit right. But I was just like, that's so, that's an interesting choice.
Yeah.
Okay.
Interesting creative decision.
Yeah. Yeah. Then they have their nice dance sequence. I love that they took all the generations of actors for each character and clumped them together and like gave them all their like moment to shine.
And I like how they kind of went back and forth for a little bit to the entire group of actors and actresses and dancers and whatever on the train station to just those two, just the medium two, just the little two, and then goes back to everybody and then just those two, and it gives them that last moment together and then ends the movie.
And those 2 little kids were so cute, just jumping around.
Just jumping around, flailing around.
You could tell that they were like, just go have fun. It's okay. Yeah. Like there was no, whatever pressure that there might have been, on the day, obviously being surrounded by a crew of 200 people or whatever, like little kids having all the attention pointed at them. I don't know what kind of pressure they might have felt, but what we have on camera, unless those kids tell me differently, like however old they are now, I won't believe that they weren't having the time of their life, just going, we're like fucking around.
Yeah. They probably just told them, go over there, dance the music, like just no real pressure. Just, hey, go dance, and they just started jumping to the beat of the music and started flailing around. And
yeah, but I've had plenty of times where like my daughter, if there's an audience, when there's an audience, suddenly things change for her, where it's like, ooh, stage fright kind of thing. So,
but this is probably towards the end of the movie. They probably didn't do this right away. So the pressure of those kids, they've been acting in front of these cameras for the last, 2 weeks.
Yeah.
So it's probably not a thing to them anymore at that point. So, yeah. I mean, it was a fantastic movie front to back. Few small little things I would change. But so close for me. I cannot, off the top of my head, I cannot think of what an ayahuasca movie to me really would be besides like The Pianist. I cannot. This would be super close. This is about to be as close as I can think of off the top of my head.
Dude, so
oh.
I randomly just found what India's Who Wants to Be a Millionaire is in the pictures section. One, the picture is Amitabh Bachchan, the actor who I was quoting earlier, who like we don't see his face, but that's the one who allegedly signs the picture.
Oh, okay.
Is hosting it.
Oh, nice.
Which I know I'd be fascinated to know, like, the chicken and egg scenario of that, because this is from a 2014 article, so obviously it's after. But was he hosting it before they made a movie about it? And then I'll say the name of what the actual name is from the picture that I can tell, and then I'll tell you the title of the article. Crorepati Kaun Banega, and I'm going to spell that out. It's CROREPATI space KAUN space BANEGA. So that's why I couldn't find it when I was Googling the different tops. And the headline is from BuzzFeed News. And it was
good start. Good start.
And it's India's version of Who Wants to Be a Millionaire will allow third gender participants. Like, I guess there must have been some part or period of time where the show would only recognize male and female participants.
I mean, I know there's a lot of other countries in the world that, do have that issue. I mean, this country still has that issue. I mean, but yeah.
The show recently began taking registrations for its 8th season. So 2014, 8. So 2006 is around when it started. Maybe 2007. So I don't know. He could have been hosting it. There may have been another host. We've been going for long enough. I'll keep going as long as you have things to say. But again, I felt like I was talking way too much for not my movie choice in the beginning. So I won't extend it myself.
Golden. I'm golden because you have a lot of other random information stuck in the head. So it's nice to get it out on. Pull it out of there with movies like this. I'm trying to find while you were doing that, I was trying to find what the top grossing non-Indian movies were in India, and I can't figure it out. But some of these Indian titles and India movie posters are pretty sweet.
Yeah. I tried searching top grossing films in India, and it just said list of highest grossing Indian films. And yeah.
Yeah, I can't. But like I said, I knew it was 4th when it came out.
That movie that I mentioned earlier, Bajrangi Bhaijaan, is number 6.
Oh, nice.
In terms of top India grossers.
Sure. Where's Three Idiots on that list?
Oh yeah, true. Where is that? 17.
That's awesome.
Yeah, Bajrangi Bhaijaan, Bahubali 2, The Conclusion. I don't know why. Wow, Bahubali the beginning is number 53.
Ooh, it looks like I found the list. And it looks like what Slumdog Millionaire fell out of the top 10.
Just in India? Where is it now?
It just has the top 10.
What are the 10?
Avengers Endgame, Avengers Infinity War, Spider-Man No Way Home, The Jungle Book, The Lion King, Jurassic World Fallen Kingdom. That's weird. Oh man. Number 8, The Fate of the Furious.
The Fate of the Furious was fine. It wasn't the greatest, but I don't think it was a mess.
Eighth on the list of top grossing opening box office.
Oh, you punny boy. Are you because it's Fate?
No,
F8?
because there's a Fast and Furious movie on the top 10. There's so many other movies I could put on this list.
Come on.
Avatar is number 9.
Come on,
it's Age of Ultron 10.
I'm more shocked that Fate is higher than Furious 7. But I think it was still on an upward trajectory at that point. What was 9 and 10?
Avatar and Age of Ultron.
Huh, okay.
Yeah, it's just kind of bizarre.
So what you're saying is Dev Patel stayed in the top 10 because he was in Avatar: The Last Airbender. He said,
Boom.
definitely not ignoring the fact that Avatar: The Last Airbender and Avatar are not the same thing.
I mean, they could be. They could be. Just don't look it up and just assume you're right and move on with your life.
I was so excited for Dev Patel in that film. It's a bummer. Anyway,
Yeah, it's crazy to me that some of those movies are up there. Some of the movies deserve to be up there. Some of them are just I have no idea. Titanic's not up there. I mean, think of like all the greatest American movies, and you've got, you know,
Blind Spotting.
yeah, Fate of the Furious up there.
It did things well. I enjoyed it. All right,
Okay.
let me count. 1, 2, 3, potentially 4. I can't remember. 4, 5, 6. I've seen 6, maybe 7 of the top 10 grossing Indian movies. So I'm basically the best American,
Boom.
non Indian American version category. But no, yeah, a lot of these really do deserve to be up there.
Wow, they even have like the nominal gross on this. This is crazy.
What do you mean?
So they have the nominal gross, like what didn't gross, and they have foreign films that were featured.
I don't know what. Sorry, I don't know what nominal gross means.
So the instead of the top gross, think of the bottom. So like
Of
enter
all
the
time,
direct
what
of all time, and foreign films that have been featured.
you mean? There's
So
not one independent film that
no, they
opened
have the
in
Indian
2
ones.
theaters that
Yeah,
failed.
yeah, they have one for, let's see here,
What?
55 Lakin, like Li or Lakh,
Hmm.
what meaning equal to 100,000. Okay, so they have one for 5,500. How'd that work out? But they, yeah, 1940 there's one for 1 crore, which is 10 million.
Oh, then that's not the
That's
lowest.
nothing.
Then isn't
That's the list here.
$133,000.
Yeah, I mean, but if you're a national, if this is like a national movie, more than just like 3 theaters,
Oh,
and
okay, okay.
considering, a movie is probably like 100 or 1,000 rupees or 2,000 rupees. Like the one guy, or like Salam was like spreading out into his bathtub, just sitting in. But anyway, Titanic, 12 million US dollars is converted gross.
Yeah.
Yeah. Jurassic Park, $7 million for adjusted US. Fate, they're Furious 7 here. There you go. Right.
I'm
Right
shocked
here.
you're
20.
so angry at Fate of the Furious and not at the 2 Jurassic World movies. Because
Yeah,
Fate of the
I should be mad about
Furious,
that.
I gotta say, hands down, at least for me, better than the Jurassic World movies because they have chemistry. Like they have chemistry at all in Fate of the Furious. So I mean, like,
and they have family, so I mean they're automatically up there.
yeah, they've cheated because it's not the first, the first Jurassic World movie, whatever. It didn't have 7 movies with those same characters or 5 or 6, whatever. Um, but Fate of the Furious automatically better than both of those because Letty and Dom have better chemistry than White Woman and White Boy. I don't know the names. Sorry, they're talented
Not
actors and actresses, but like I literally
Chris
just
Pratt.
watched a movie from Captain Midnight called The Death of the Mummy franchise, and he was talking about Rachel Weisz's and Brendan Fraser's chemistry and compared it to the almost complete lack, or where he was complimenting Rachel Weisz's character in those movies and how she's more than just the annoying damsel who has nothing else going on but to say exposition and be annoying. And he compared her to Bryce Dallas Howard's character in Jurassic World, and I was like, it's kind of fair, kind of fair.
Yeah.
Anywho, this movie may be edible.
This movie may be a mushroom.
But either way, this movie is dope because movies
are dope.
And I should have said this at the beginning, but if the ratings and reviews are equal on Apple Podcasts and Spotify, or collectively total 17 or more by December 1st, we will watch and review the Twilight Saga Breaking Dawn Part 2.
Specific.
Which we haven't seen. It's the only one I haven't seen. Brad's only seen the first one.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure I've only seen the first one and maybe a scene or two out of the second one, but that's about it.
And, if you just want to leave ratings and reviews and tease us about it, you can follow Brad in the link in the description and me at Movies Are Dope. Link also in the description. But good night, gals.
The next movie is
Batman, The Dark Knight Returns, Deluxe Edition.
Good, because I just watched The Dark Knight this last weekend, so it's perfect timing. I didn't even try.
I saw a headline today that said the Batman is headed towards a bigger opening weekend than any Dark Knight film, and I want that to be true. No, I actually don't. I don't believe
the advertising pushing.
Yeah, I don't believe it. I'd be shocked. Part of me would be very shocked. Part of me would not be surprised at all after Spider-Man No Way Home.
Yeah.
But the reason I don't want it to beat those box offices is purely because Spider-Man No Way Home gave a lot of people COVID. And even a few of the YouTubers I follow were like, yeah, we went to Spider-Man No Way Home and fuck. We got COVID even though we're vaccinated. So I would like to not do that again so soon. But
you also just don't like Robert Pattinson. You can
fuck
go ahead
you.
and admit it.
Fuck you. No. I was the person when I heard that Ben Affleck was going to be Batman. I punched the top of my car with excitement because I had seen The Town and I knew he'd be fucking excellent. And I've seen Good Time with Robert Pattinson and he's excellent. So I had the same reaction. I was like, oh yeah. Well, actually, I don't think I saw the Good Time at that point. But I'd heard good reviews, so I was like, all right, now I finally got to watch Good Time. And then when I watched Good Time, I was like, oh, yeah. And plus, I mean, the director, Matt Reeves, did the last two Planet of the Apes movies. I've said previously, I don't know if I said this while we were recording or before, but I trust projects based on the talent involved, the directors and the writers, if I've loved other things from them. So I am definitely excited. I love that it's almost 3 hours long. It's so meticulous. The cast is stacked. I don't believe for 1 second that anyone slacked on this movie. Hell, Matt Reeves years ago was like, yeah, like going into this, people, executives mentioned like, hey, what if we did this? He's like, yeah, but that's not the movie I'm making with the Batman. And he would love to just cut and run instead of do anything that's slightly not his vision, which sounds a lot like Rian Johnson, which we kind of insulted did a few healthy jabs at last week, but Matt Reeves's track record speaks better than Rian Johnson's, to be fair. And he said, I'm going to be working on this for 2-3 years more, maybe. If it's not going to be something that I can actually get up every day and be proud of, I want to get the fuck out now. Because that's a lot of time and effort to put into something that I wouldn't be passionate about. So Hell no.
Yeah. Well,
I'm
two
ready.
things. Two things. I mean, the marketing budget on this is astronomical. I mean,
Mhm.
they're spending buku bucks on advertising, including pre-registering tickets as of February 1st for the movie March 4th. So they are already pre-selling tickets for opening weekend. Two, and I'm not going to spoil anything, but you mentioned the cast. I'm excited to see Felix Leiter.
Yeah. Yeah, that was
Uh,
one of the, and he has a sequel or a spin-off HBO Max show. I think that's supposed to being made by Matt Reeves, which I think is supposed to be around like year one.
okay.
But it's his own Gotham one. Okay, so
I didn't want to tell you who he's portraying in the movie because I know you're spoiler free, as spoiler free as you can get in most of these movies.
I mean, everybody knows, right?
I mean, I didn't until just now. I
Oh,
didn't really,
okay.
and I'm getting kind of spoiled too because of I'm looking at the cast list and it tells you who their characters are. So like I knew who one of the bad guys was, but now I know who the other kind of one and a half are.
All right.
Which kind
I won't say the characters, but I know who obviously Robert Pattinson plays. I know who
Mhm,
Paul Dano plays. I know
mhm.
who Zoe
That's the one I knew.
Kravitz plays. I
I
know
didn't know that.
who Colin Farrell plays, and he looks unrecognizable. And
Yeah,
I
I
know
can't
who.
imagine
Why am I blanking on his name now?
Andy.
Jeffrey Wright.
Jeff. Oh yeah,
I know who he plays. Who's Andy? Say the character, the actor's name.
yeah. Andy Circus, the bad guy from Black Panther, the whole black white or the white guy from
Oh
Black
yeah,
Panther.
yep. I knew who he was playing, but I think that was just in like casting announcements that I'd seen.
Okay.
But yeah, I will be avoiding all the other trailers as much as I can.
I mean,
And
they're
I've seen
playing
some
one on
posters.
yeah, they're playing one on TV like nonstop.
Hmm.
So that's why I know they're putting buku bucks into marketing.
I'll say I love Zoe Kravitz's career. And I
Yes.
honestly, until like a year or two ago, I did not know who her dad was or her mom.
Really?
Yeah.
Come on, really? Are you
No,
serious?
seriously, yeah. I had seen her in X-Men First Class, didn't know who she was. I saw her in Mad Max and forgot that she was the same actress. Probably because time had passed and she hadn't been brought back for X-Men Days of Future Past, the bastards. Why? Why? She was there. You killed like 3 characters off screen from first. Fuck you, Bly and Blinger. Um, and then she. What else? And she's dating Channing Tatum now. I'll just skip ahead because I'm jealous. But she
Yeah,
did.
I see. She's now recently divorced as of 2021.
Oh, who is she married to?
Carl Guzman,
Hmm.
an American actor.
Guzman.
The Neon Demon, Nocturnal Animals.
All right,
Yeah,
I'll look him up in a second. But
I don't recognize anything.
she also. Oh yeah, she was Mary Jane in Spider-Man into the Spider-Verse.
Yep.
I mean, she was in Fantastic Beasts, but everyone hates that, so like, fuck it.
I just can't. It blows my mind that you didn't know that her dad was Lenny Kravitz.
Yeah.
And
I,
also, first was it second cousin once removed to Al Roker.
but then like relatively recently, she has her own High Fidelity series on Hulu, and now she's in the Batman. She just seems very chill for her legacy. Like Mad Max Fury Road, she's not even the primary wife, trophy wife. You know what I mean? She's like, I come from royalty. I'm totally fine being second, third, fourth. I'm not even the main trophy wife, which again, like a trophy wife in general, people just may not want to do that. But especially signing up for 9 months of grueling, miserable filming to the point where Charlize Theron and what's main Tom Hardy like hated each other because they were so fucking miserable. They just started sniping at each other, and
Oh,
And you're
X-Men First
like,
Class. Oh, look at
yeah,
that.
yeah, that's what I'm saying. She was a very like relatively minor character in that. It wasn't like the most minor, but she just had she was like dope. This is a cool project. It's going to be a lot of hard work, especially in terms of Mad Max Fury Road. I'm not going to be the center of attention. I just like that. I like that she she wasn't like, Daddy, Daddy, put some money together for some projects for me. Yes, please, Daddy. I don't know why I'm doing like a Stewie voice. Papa, Papa, please get your friends. Do vanity projects for me. Yes, Papa. Thank you. Uh, I mean, hell, like, of course, I would do Mad Max Fury Road because
Yeah,
I'm me.
I would too. Yeah, I would too.
Yeah,
Only
we're
because
us.
I'd want to be the guitarist in the front of the Doom Train.
But like that, and we know that it's great now. Tom Hardy, like in one of his first interviews or an interview very early on, was like, "Yeah, I thought I was just like, this is probably going to be a piece of shit," probably very much informed by him and Charlize sniping at each other and being miserable every day for the duration of that it would take a woman to give birth from conception to birth. They just had to do that every day in grueling environments. And the way that the script was made and George Miller like films, I'm sure you could just be like, this could be the biggest piece of shit. I got no idea. And that's what most actors, just have to understand about most films in general. But yeah, like going in for a if you look at it a certain way, a relatively unimportant part. If you're just looking at it from a script page and like counting the lines, you're like, oh, I have 20 lines. And you want me for 9 months in the sand, in the heat, in the misery? I'm gonna go smoke weed on my yacht, bud. Like, if one of my friends came and they were like, yeah, and I'm not gonna pay you a lot of money either. And they're like, yeah, I gotta like drive my daughter to school.
I've got things to do.
Like, there's a new episode of Peacemaker coming. Like, I'm a soft boy. So yeah, I just admire people who, as awesome as they can be, and just have huge humility. I saved a picture on that I saw in like some random stupid tabloid thing because it was like Zoe Kravitz and let me see, Arrested Development. I'm gonna get the actress's name. I don't know why this hit me how it did, but it was like Zoe Kravitz going on a coffee run with Aaliyah Shawkat. She was maybe in Arrested Development, the young freckled girl.
Nope, no idea. I suck when it comes to stuff like this. Keep going.
I'll just drop the link in our chat so you can just see what she looks like. But for some reason, it just hit me. I was like, I love that Zoe Kravitz has friends who don't also fall exactly under the, no, I'm a supermodel. Yeah. I was just like, I don't know why. I was just like, this is so nice. This is so wholesome. I love, she doesn't seem to have an ego or be a Kardashian. Let's say that she's not a Kardashian.
That's pretty fair. I would agree with that.
So yeah, I'm rooting for her. Like, she and Channing Tatum, actually their careers match in a lot of ways. He had very little ego in terms of the roles he was willing to do the work and like earn it. I don't know that Channing Tatum came from legacy, but in a way, it for me, it's a little more impressive that you come from legacy and you can have the humility. But like, to be fair, Channing Tatum's so goddamn gorgeous. He could have had a big head and
I mean, he had to slog through some pretty awful movies.
Yeah, I think his first
Jump Street, 22
Fuck
Jump
off.
Street,
Fuck off. I think his first role was on like NCIS or CSI or something like that. And he was like, it's a bad performance. Even he said it. Like on some talk show or something. But you know. Yeah.
Yeah.
They both had reasons, perfectly good reasons for just having a huge insufferable ego. Her with her legacy and him with his and 20 minutes after we signed off.
Yeah, pretty much.
I'm gonna go to the grocery store with my daughter. See everybody for Batman the Dark Knight. You know what? I'm gonna start putting in the link for the next thing we're watching since we announced it, like an affiliate link down below. So
that makes sense.
I'd be surprised. I'll be impressed by anybody who gets to this point. But feel free to comment on Spotify or Instagram. What is it?
Comment on Instagram that you made it this far, and we'll give you some likes.
Just literally write like affiliate gang. And I'll know that you got to the end of this. We'll shout. Well, yeah. Anyone for the year of 2022, anyone who writes affiliate gang, we'll shout them out in the next episode we record.
That'll be amazing.
And if I forget to ever mention affiliate gang again, that'll be even more hilarious and amazing. All right. Bye, everybody. Bye, gals.
See ya.
We're all gals.